Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're doing a deep dive into excerpts from Do It Today, Overcome Procrastination, Improve Productivity, and Achieve More Meaningful Things. It's by Darius Foroux.
Right. And this book, it's really framed as a guide for, well, for thriving in the world we live in now, which is just incredibly fast-paced.
Yeah, it feels like it sometimes.
It's not just about, ticking off more boxes. It offers a whole system, practical tools, really, to help you sharpen your focus, tackle procrastination, which is a beast for so many people.
Definitely.
And yeah, be more productive, but crucially, without sacrificing your mental health along the way.
And he structures it pretty clearly, right?
Yeah.
Into three main parts.
Exactly. First, overcoming procrastination, getting into the why behind it.
Yeah.
Then, improving productivity, how to actually get the important stuff done.
The effectiveness part.
Right. And finally, achieving more sort of the bigger picture, finding meaning in what you do. It's all based on his own experiences and his philosophy.
So our goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is really to unpack the core ideas, the most useful nuggets from this book, to help you understand his system for getting things done and hopefully living a more meaningful life.
Sounds good. Let's unpack it.
Okay, so the absolute core, the mantra almost, is do it today. Simple, but powerful.
Very powerful. And he's super direct about why life is finite. Time. You just don't get it back. It's not replenishable.
Yeah, that hits home.
So what you decide to do, or maybe not do, right now, today, that directly sets the stage for where you end up later, tomorrow, next week, next year.
It's about moving from just reacting to things to actively choosing. He has that story early on, doesn't he, about his email?
Oh yeah, the list bombing attack. His email service just got shut down. Big deal for his business, obviously.
Right. You'd think panic, frustration.
But instead of just getting upset or waiting around, he apparently just immediately pivoted and started outlining this book. Just like that, he says. It's a great example. Life throws stuff at you, unexpected stuff, but you find a way to keep moving forward on what actually matters. Don't just stop.
So it's about clarity then, figuring out what is important.
That's a huge part of it. Identifying what's truly important to you personally, and then developing the focus in the system, which the book lays out to kind of eliminate everything else.
Cutting through the noise.
Exactly. The book aims to be that structured path towards clarity and action.
And thinking about you listening, why does this matter right now? Because every single second you invest in something worthwhile, well, that's an investment.
But every second lost to, say, mindless scrolling or putting things off.
You never get that back. It forces you to be really honest about how you're using this incredibly limited resource.
Which leads right into how he talks about procrastination. He argues it's usually not about lacking the right app or, not having enough hours in the day.
It's deeper than that.
Much deeper. It's fundamentally an inner battle. It's our own minds trying to dodge discomfort, difficulty, maybe even fear associated with a task.
That makes me think of Stephen Pressfield and resistance, that internal enemy he talks about.
Absolutely. It's that same concept. And the crucial point Foroux makes, and he points to research on this, is that you can't just rely on sheer willpower to overcome that resistance day in, day out.
Willpower runs out.
It's finite. It gets depleted. So what you really need isn't more grit necessarily, but a system.
Okay, a system. So what are the building blocks of his system? What does that look like practically?
He lays out a few key interconnected practices. First, actively exercising your mental toughness every day.
How do you do that?
He draws on things like stoicism, pragmatism, mindfulness, basically. Tools to help you observe your thoughts and manage them rather than letting them control you.
Okay, mindset work.
Definitely. Second, daily physical exercise. He sees this as totally foundational for energy, focus, even confidence.
So mind and body, it's integrated.
Completely intertwined. Then he talks about setting specific daily habits. Things like journaling for clarity, reading to learn, setting clear priorities for that day.
Makes sense.
And even making sure you have some real human contact. These things structure the day and reinforce a sense of control.
What else is in the system?
He keeps a running list of small but important tasks to tackle today. Not giant projects, but manageable steps. Builds momentum.
Ah, okay. Bite-sized chunks.
Exactly. And finally, this one's interesting. Understanding the science of persuasion.
Persuasion. How does that fit into personal productivity?
Well, not just for influencing others, but pragmatically. How do you get your own ideas across effectively? How do you navigate situations where getting your work done depends on other people?
Ah, right. Because work rarely happens in a total vacuum.
Precisely. It's about being effective in the real world. But he's clear this whole system, it's not magic. It takes effort, consistency, but it builds a sustainable foundation.
And that idea of sustainability ties into the next big challenge: focus. He makes a really strong point that the issue isn't managing time.
It's managing your attention. That's the real currency.
Like Seneca said, to be everywhere is nowhere.
Exactly. And our modern world, especially our tech, it's literally designed to hijack our attention. It taps right into that primitive part of our brain, the lizard brain, always seeking novelty, immediate gratification.
Making deep focus really hard.
Incredibly hard. And we know the cost, right? Research shows all these interruptions don't just kill productivity, they ramp up stress, frustration, that feeling of always being behind.
Yeah, that feeling's familiar.
So the shift has to be away from trying to control time, which is, let's face it, impossible.
Can't add more hours to the day.
Nope. And towards controlling the one thing you can influence, where you choose to put your attention.
So practically, how do you regain control of attention? He talks about disconnecting, right?
Yes, consciously disconnecting. Actively stopping the mindless browsing. Maybe removing distracting apps. Setting specific times to check email or social media instead of being constantly available.
Takes discipline.
It does, but the research backs it up. It genuinely reduces anxiety, frees up mental energy for the stuff that matters. He uses that thought experiment.
Yeah.
Imagine being on your deathbed
Oh, yeah.
and wishing you'd spent more time scrolling Instagram.
Puts it in perspective.
Definitely. It highlights how trivial many daily distractions are in the grand scheme.
Okay, but what about in the moment? When you're trying to focus but your brain just feels scattered?
One powerful strategy he suggests is elimination. Simple, but effective. If you feel overwhelmed, it's often because you're juggling too much mentally.
Too many open tabs in the brain.
Exactly. So declutter your projects, your ideas, maybe even physical stuff around you. Simplify your commitments. It clears the mental space.
And he mentions a way to kind of boost focus using your own past.
Yeah, intentionally recalling past successes. This actually ties into brain chemistry. Research by Alex Korb shows that remembering positive events can increase serotonin in the prefrontal cortex. That part of the brain is key for regulating attention and delaying gratification.
Interesting. So remembering good stuff helps you focus now.
It can strengthen those neural pathways.
Mm-hmm.
When serotonin is low, we're more easily pulled towards distractions. So it's a practical brain hack, almost. And part of this is being honest with yourself. If you're constantly checking your phone or gossiping or just feeling bored, he says those aren't neutral. They're signs your attention isn't focused on what matters to you.
Okay, so self-awareness is key there too.
Absolutely. And he also brings up using a mantra.
Like a meditation thing.
He presents it more as a pragmatic tool, actually. You can make it spiritual if you want, but the core idea is just having a simple phrase you repeat to yourself.
For what purpose?
To overcome fear, quiet the internal noise, and just focus. He gives examples like Floyd Mayweather's hard work, dedication, or his own is just, let's go. Yeah, the point is that repetition can shift your mental state, push you towards action, and create like a little mental bubble, a worry-free zone to concentrate. It's about grabbing control of that inner voice.
Okay, that makes sense. Moving into part 2, improving productivity, he starts with a really important distinction.
Yeah, the difference between just being busy, what he calls productivity, and being effective, which is doing the right things. Results are what count.
You can spin your wheels being productive, but not actually get anywhere meaningful.
Exactly. Lots of activity doesn't equal progress. Effectiveness is about meaningful outcomes.
And to figure out where the effort should go, he suggests that exercise from Peter Drucker, right? Know thy time.
Yes, adapted from Drucker. Step 1 is deceptively simple. Keep an activity log. Track everything you do for at least 2 weeks.
Why? Can't you just sort of guess?
Our memory is terrible for this. We think we know where our time goes, but we're usually way off. You have to track it to see the reality.
Okay. Painful but necessary.
Yep.
Then step 2.
Look at that log and identify the non-productive stuff. For each recurring activity, ask yourself, really honestly, what would actually happen if I just stopped doing this?
And if the answer is not much or nothing important,
Then it's likely a time waster. Step 3 is eliminate it.
easier said than done sometimes.
True, but the awareness from the log is the key. Doing this exercise regularly forces you to confront your habits and gives you the data to prune away the things that aren't adding value.
He also takes on perfectionism. That's a productivity killer for a lot of people.
Oh, huge. He talks about 2 main types of perfectionist procrastinators. There are those who are so afraid it won't be perfect, they never even start.
Analysis paralysis.
Right. And then there are those who start, but they get bogged down endlessly tweaking, refining, never feeling it's good enough to finish.
Both lead to the same place, stuck, and probably anxious.
Exactly. Anxiety, worry, feeling helpless. The solution he points to is developing something called learned resourcefulness.
Learned resourcefulness. What's
Yeah.
that?
It's not a fixed trait. It's a set of skills you can build. It involves self-regulation, being able to problem solve when things aren't perfect, and maintaining focus, delaying that gratification even when the result isn't immediately ideal.
So it's about adapting and trusting yourself.
Yeah, finding a balance. Aim for high quality, definitely, but don't let impossible standards paralyze you. Rely on your system. Adjust when you hit bumps, solve the problems that come up, and cultivate that mindset of, okay, I can handle this. I've got this.
And another key piece for sustained productivity, maybe counterintuitively, is breaks.
Absolutely crucial. The research is really clear on this. Just trying to power through relentlessly leads straight to burnout and the quality of your work tanks.
He quotes Dale Carnegie, right?
Yeah. Rest often. Rest before you get tired. It's about prevention, not waiting until you're totally fried to recover.
Does that include proper vacations, too? Longer breaks?
Definitely. He highlights the science showing that real vacations where you actually disconnect boost productivity afterwards, reduce stress, help prevent burnout.
And taking time off forces you to be more efficient beforehand, maybe.
That too. It forces effectiveness because you have less time. But the key is the vacation needs to actually be restful, not just stressful travel. It also gives you vital space for reflection, stepping back from the day-to-day execution to just think.
Gain perspective.
Right. And just as importantly, it's time to connect with the rest of your life, your family, friends, hobbies. He reminds you, you are not just your job title.
What about breaks during the workday itself?
Short, frequent breaks are key. He suggests something like a 5-minute break every 30 to 45 minutes of focused work, kind of like the Pomodoro technique.
Is there a reason for that timing?
It seems to align with how our brains naturally work focused sprints, followed by short recovery. It's not arbitrary. It seems rooted in our evolutionary biology. These micro breaks actually help you maintain focus over longer periods and improve work quality.
Any tips for making those breaks effective?
Yeah, use a timer, maybe assign a specific task to each work block so you know what you're focusing on. Really take the break. Don't just switch to checking email and then get back to it. It creates a sustainable rhythm.
Okay, so that covers boosting productivity. Now, part 3, achieving more, seems to zoom out a bit. Long-term growth, purpose.
Exactly. And he starts with maybe the biggest underlying reason people procrastinate or feel unfulfilled. They're simply not doing work they genuinely care about.
That's a big one.
It really is. He suggests that all the productivity techniques in the world can feel like, well, like pushing a boulder uphill if the work itself doesn't resonate deep down. Procrastination might even be a signal.
A signal to change something.
Yeah, maybe you're on the wrong path or need to adjust your direction. Real, sustained effort often flows much more easily when your passion aligns with your skills.
What if you're feeling stuck precisely because you don't know what you want? That uncertainty can be paralyzing, too.
He addresses that directly. And his message is reassuring. It's completely okay not to have it all figured out. Life's unpredictable, right? Eleanor Roosevelt quote there.
So what's the advice then?
Focus less on knowing the exact destination and more on knowing your general direction. That sense of purpose often clarifies itself as you take action, as you move forward. And while you're figuring things out, work on building universal skills.
Universal skills, skills that are useful pretty much anywhere.
Exactly. Things like self-discipline, personal effectiveness, what we've been talking about, communication, negotiation, persuasion, that pragmatic kind again, physical strength and stamina, and flexibility, like mental adaptability.
Things that make you more capable overall.
Right. They're foundational. Improving any one of these will help you no matter where you end up. He suggests picking one, really focusing on getting better at it, then moving to the next.
Consistency comes up again here, doesn't it? As key for long-term achievement.
Huge theme. He's not about massive, unsustainable bursts of effort. He advocates aiming to improve by just 0.1% each day. Seems tiny, but that consistent daily progress compounds over time into really significant results, much more powerful than occasional heroic efforts followed by burnout. And maintaining that consistency requires the mental toughness you talked about earlier.
Drawing on stoicism, pragmatism.
Yeah, building that resilience. And a core part of that resilience is focusing only on what you can control.
Because bad stuff will happen.
Guaranteed. Setbacks, challenges, criticism, they're part of life. The key isn't wishing they won't happen, it's building your capacity to deal with them when they do. Focus on your actions, your responses, your mindset, the things within your sphere of influence. Don't get derailed by external events you can't control. That's how you maintain consistency.
I also found his take on belief really practical.
Me too. It's not just rah-rah motivation. He treats belief as a practical instrument. He references William James. Belief will help create the fact.
Meaning what you believe shapes your reality.
In a very pragmatic way. The things you accept as true in your head are there because you choose to believe them, consciously or unconsciously. And you have the power to decide what to believe. That decision directly influences your actions, and therefore your outcomes.
He used his writing story as an example, right? Being told he wasn't a real writer.
Exactly. Letting that fear-based belief take hold could have stopped him completely. The practical takeaway is, consciously choose to believe you can achieve what you want, and then act based on that belief. Don't let limiting beliefs hold you back.
Which seems connected to his next point. Don't compete, create.
Yes. Moving away from a scarcity mindset. Conventional thinking often assumes opportunities are limited, so you have to fight for your piece of the pie.
A zero-sum game.
Right. He pushes back on that, advocating for an abundance mindset, drawing on Wallace D. Wattles. The idea is there's plenty of opportunity out there if you're willing to create it. Use your energy to build something new, rather than just competing for what already exists.
Requires ignoring the doubters, maybe.
Definitely. And challenging your own limiting beliefs about what's possible for you. Create your own path.
And underpinning all this creation, all this growth, is another fundamental. All strength comes from repetition.
Back to basics. Whether it's an athlete like Daniel Cormier mastering wrestling fundamentals or someone building a business, you can't skip the foundational work. Repetition builds skill, yes, but also mental strength, that discipline, that self-reliance.
And Foroux narrows this down to 3 key areas for repetitive effort.
Yeah, he simplifies it to energy, work, and relationships, and they're all interconnected.
How so?
Consistent high energy, which comes from repetition and diet and exercise, directly fuels your ability to do effective work. Consistent, focused work using your systems allows you to achieve things and contribute, which impacts your relationships. And strong relationships, which research suggests are key to long-term happiness, are built through consistent effort too.
Focusing on your contribution, not just what you get.
Exactly, like Wayne Dyer said, focus on what you bring to the relationship. And in all 3, energy, work, relationships, the focus is always on what you control. Your effort, your consistency, your mindset.
Okay, that brings us towards the end. He emphasizes the power of compounding.
Immense power, but with a really important condition. It only works if you focus. His argument is powerful. You can achieve almost anything if you stop trying to do everything at once.
Spreading yourself too thin kills the compounding effect.
Totally dilutes it. Real, significant results come from concentrating your effort on one important thing at a time. Like the principle in The One Thing by Keller and Papasan. That focused effort is what allows compounding to work its magic.
And finally, as you achieve more, it's crucial to balance that with life outside work.
Absolutely non-negotiable for him. Learn to leave the office on time. And really, truly, don't take your work home.
Easier said than done in today's culture sometimes.
For sure, but he's quite blunt about it. Results matter, not pretending to be busy or living by that perception as reality nonsense that keeps people chained to their desks. You have to actively protect your time and energy for the other parts of a meaningful life.
Like Marcus Aurelius said, happiness is simpler, more internal.
Right. It's often found in your own thinking, your relationships, your well-being, not just external success or money alone.
Okay, so wrapping this up. We've really explored Darius Foroux's whole approach. It's this integrated system for tackling procrastination, yes, but also for being truly effective and ultimately building a life that feels meaningful to you.
And it's really not about quick hacks, is it? It's about a sustainable path built on mastering your mindset, having solid systems, being ruthless about managing your attention.
Embracing that daily consistency, choosing beliefs that empower you, knowing what you value.
Creating, rather than just competing, focusing your efforts, valuing relationships, and crucially, maintaining that balance.
So the key actionable ideas we touched on. Track your time to really know where it goes. Build your personal system of habits. Manage attention. not time disconnects strategically. Take real breaks, long and short. Develop those universal skills. Commit to tiny daily improvements, consistency.
Yeah, and choose your beliefs deliberately.
Hmm.
Create your own opportunities.
Hmm.
Remember, strength comes from repetition in energy, work, relationships, focusing on your part. Leverage compounding by focusing on one thing. And protect your non-work life, leave work at work.
It is a lot, but the book lays it out step by step. So maybe a final thought for you listening. If you took just one thing from this deep dive, one single idea or action, and actually committed to implementing it today, how could that one small, consistent step start to compound over time? What could that change for you down the line? What's the one thing you're going to do today?
A great question to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Do It Today. We hope these insights give you some valuable perspective and maybe some practical steps forward.
Until next time.